heart grow fonder, and the people that I love are getting farther away. They say distance makes the heart grow stronger. Well, I've been holding on, but it gets harder each day. When there's nothing I can do, always a phone call or a postcard away from you. Only numbers, only lines on a map, and we're so far from one another, but it won't hold us back, no. My heart's not pumping blood, my heart is pumping iron, my heart's getting tired.
Hi friends, my name is Mackenzie, also known as Emtothethird on Instagram, Ravelry, and YouTube, and this is the Emtothethird Knitting Podcast. I'm coming to you from Boston, Massachusetts, and it's really hot. So I have a fan on down here, and I'm hoping that it doesn't mess up getting the sound. I feel like I used it last year and it was fine, but we'll see how it goes. I'm coming to you from a new backdrop, and that's because maybe like 3 weeks ago, Kay and I, my partner, and I have been working from home now since like mid-March, like I think a lot of people. We're not laid off yet, or hopefully not, but we've been both working from home, and the way that we had the house set up, we have a 2-bedroom like first floor of a house, and the 2 bedrooms are sort of like over on that side at the back of the house, and one of those has been like my craft sort of studio, and that's like where I have been recording the podcast. A couple of times my mom has visited, and she's been like, you're not really using the dining room space. I feel like it would make so much more sense for you to turn this space into, your work craft area, and then give Kay the office in the back so that they have like a door. And so, that's sort of been sitting with me, and then now that we've been at home for so long, and it doesn't look like that's going to be changing anytime in the future, I was just like, maybe that's exactly what we need to do. Kind of switch everything up so that you have more space to, do programming. So they work at a queer youth nonprofit, and they host late night programming, not late night, but like evening programming for the youth. And so they've been doing it in the room that I am in now. So the 2 bedrooms are in the back, and then at the very front is this little office. It's very small, maybe like 6 feet wide, and I don't know how long, not even 20, maybe 15 feet. It used to be the porch, and it was closed in to make like another room. So this is like a little office, but it's not very insulated because it used to be a porch. So in the winter it gets very cold, and in the summer it gets very hot. So they were just like baking in here in the evening, and they kind of had to be in a room with the door closed because of the programming. So, all this to say, a few weekends ago my project was to start shifting all of the bookshelves around, the furniture around. We had a futon like crammed into this front office space, and we moved that into the back room. So now they have like a really cool little space that they share with Moose. And I have the like dining room area and this little office, and it's been like great for my productivity. It's like kind of amazing how like just switching up space and having power over sort of putting things where they belong can have. So yeah, that's been so nice, because really since the beginning of shelter in place I've just been feeling so like bummed, but like uninspired, and I think a lot of people resonate with that. I don't think that experience is unique to me, and I think it's totally understandable. So I've just been like patient with myself. That being said, I am really grateful to kind of have a spring in my step back, and to be dyeing again, and to be just like in the creative throes of knitting and, you know, seeking out inspiration. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at as I begin this episode of the podcast. And then the other thing I want to mention is that we were able to go up to visit our really good friend and former roommate, Erin, who lives outside of Portland, Maine. So we camped in her parents' backyard, which is a bunch of land, and we just had a really nice, socially distanced, you know, kind of vacation, which, again, another thing to just kind of like refill the gas tank, which I am very grateful for. So yeah, that's like what's been going on, is we're trying to have some summer, even though it's, you know, an unusual year. It's tough when it feels like we've been running on empty and there's not really an opportunity to take a vacation. You know, tourism is really being discouraged, completely understandably. Yeah, so it's just been, I mean, I think, again, like, I don't think our situation is unique. I think what is unique is that we're in an urban area, which not everyone is. So, you know, getting out of the city and even just like going on walks around my neighborhood doesn't feel totally comfortable. Like, you know, walking and doing any sort of like exercise with a mask on isn't fun, but it also feels essential. So trying to navigate, you know, that discomfort with like needs, you know, it's just been tough. I think it's been tough for everyone. So yeah, that's just where I'm coming to you from. That being said, because I've sort of got this like creative juice flowing and found a couple TV shows to binge, I've had a lot of time to knit and work on projects, so yeah, I'm gonna share those with you. Okay, so the first finished object that I'm really stoked about is this pair of socks. So I'm usually not super susceptible to podcasts posting specific colorways or yarns and being like, I need that. But that being said, Amy Beth from the Fat Squirrel posted a hat that she had knit out of this colorway, and you know, I was already like, oh my god, I love those colors so much together. And then she said that it was a Schitt's Creek inspired colorway, and so the color names are Old Farm Witches and then Nom Noms for Us, David. So that's the coordinating mini. And I was just like, sold. And Kay and I at the time were rewatching seasons 1 through 4, whatever is currently 1 through 5 on Netflix. I have not found the most recent season, which should be on Netflix in October. I think I just want to like savor and extend the amount of time that I have new Schitt's Creek because I just love it so much. It makes me so happy. And also, this is the second Schitt's Creek inspired project that I have knit. Does that make sense? Not like super explicit, but earlier this year, I knit the Once and Floral sweater by Maxim Cyr, and then I had the opportunity to meet him at Vogue Knitting Live, and so now that we were watching it again, I did another project. And so the first time that Kay and I were watching Schitt's Creek, I started that sweater, just kind of coincidentally, and then now the second time we were watching it, I had these socks on the needles. So I'm not usually someone who knits fandom-based stuff, and I kind of love that Schitt's Creek is like the show that has got me knitting like fandom-based yarns and patterns. So Yeah, so I'm really happy with these socks. They're so cute. I did want to talk about the pattern a little bit. I've been experimenting a little bit with just getting a sock pattern that I love, which I feel like is like a constant struggle, because usually I'll like settle on something and then, you know, something changes. I knit a pair of socks in Mondim from Retrosaria, and they are like the best socks that I have. It's like, you know, because it's not superwash, they're really chunky and warm, but I knit them on like a 0, and I threw my yarn instead of picked it to make sure my gauge was really tight, and my hands were really struggling through that project. So I was like, this is not going to be sustainable. But somehow, like, because I knit in Continental and it's a little bit looser, I haven't been super happy with the socks that I've knit in plain stockinette by throwing. So I've just been trying to figure it out, and this has been a really good option. So it's a 1x1 rib on the cuff here, and then I switched to a 3x1 rib, and then this time I just tried a garter heel because I'd never done one, and it seems like what I like is that it stretches a lot, and so like this part has more like width and flexibility, and I tend to have like a really large foot right here, so the garter heel like fits really well in combination with like the tighter sort of scrunching of the rib that I carry along up top. And then the toe, I've talked about this toe before, but basically I do like a decrease round, knit 4 rounds straight, a decrease round, knit 3 rounds straight, decrease round 2 rounds, 1, and then just like decrease until there's 10 stitches on the top and the bottom, and then Kitchener it. So yeah, I'm like really happy with these socks, and I thought I would start you off with a finished object that I'm stoked about before I got into the one that I'm not so stoked about. So what I had was the one half of this sweater that looks like this, and it's this amazing linen silk yarn from Sincere Sheep that I had been gifted when I lived in the Bay Area still, and I knew that I was going to run out of yarn. I had knit that back piece maybe a couple summers ago, and so I decided that my brilliant way of having enough yarn to finish the whole thing was to do this intarsia on the front. So it is finished, but I'm just like so unhappy with the fit. It is pieced, I understand why, but it just like it's frankly unflattering. I knew that it was longer than I usually like things, but I had like sort of held it up and it looked like it would be like, I don't know, it just like, I was like, yeah, I'm like into this idea of kind of having this like tunic-y top. Oh my god, my hair, because of the fan. This tunic-y type of like tank top, really, essentially. And so I knew, like, these were all things that I was like aware could make it not, like, me not like it. But it seemed like it was going well. This is like a wool held double, so I knew I was using 2 different fibers and I might not like enjoy that so much. But like, I like the way it looks. Like, it just, I'm not happy with the fit. I sort of took out some of the seaming on the side to see if like having this little like slit would make it look more like how I wanted it. Like, I've tried several things, and I'm just not really happy and in love with it. So, I mean, it felt really good that I had like pulled it out from like a backlog that I had, you know, just been like, I don't know what I'm gonna do with that creative like juices flowing again, right? And so I finished it, and I don't know, I haven't worn it. I've tried it with a few outfits, and so now I have to decide if I'm gonna unravel it, if I'm gonna, you know, send it to my mom or something. I'm really not sure. So, you know, for every like 3 successes, there's one fail. And so earlier I said that I had 2 finished objects, but that is not true. I actually have 3. I don't even remember if I talked about this in the last episode or not. But this is a little turban. I'm gonna post a picture because I feel like that makes way more sense. This pattern is the angel face turban from a Poison Girl Knits. She does a lot of like vintage inspired knitting patterns, and she has a pretty inclusive range. And I've had this in my queue for a while. It's actually supposed to be knit in fingering weight, and I did it with this like sport verging on DK weight that I had in my stash. So I cast it on initially, and I realized it was going to be way too big, so I adjusted the pattern. I can't remember what I did. I just like made it fewer stitches to like work with the gauge that I was knitting at. So I did like follow the pattern just like with fewer repeats this way so that it still fit my head. And then I basically got to the end of it, and I totally like was out of yarn. I tried to use a different yarn for the ties because you're supposed to pick up this like, let me see. Yeah, you're supposed to pick up here where this fabric is and knit these ties. And I just realized like it wasn't working because the yarn I had that was most similar in color was thinner, and so it didn't look quite right. And you know, so I sort of was like, I don't know if I want to take it all out. And then I realized I have this fabric that was very similar in color, and so I just cut strips that were supposed to be about the right size. I hemmed them very roughly, my stitching not looking great, and I zigzag stitched it to each side, and that was like a really nice hack that worked really well, especially as my hair is like growing out. This is like another experience that is like definitely not unique to me, that everyone has like quarantine grown out hair. And I've been wanting to grow my hair out, but it's like just, it's hot, but it's not long enough to put up and get out of my face. So like, of course, what would I do aside from put wool on my head? But it does feel good to just get it off of my neck. So yeah, I've been wearing this, kind of like learning how to like style it and whatnot, but I think it's super cute, and I'll put a little description, a link to all of this that I'm talking about in the description. So those are my 3 finished objects. I am still working on this, like this sock that I've shown several times. I'm almost done with the second one at this point, and then this sock and this sock that don't have pairs that's sort of what I'm working on next, is just finishing them up and then putting them away because they're gonna be a present for my sister for Christmas. So yeah, that's what's going on there. I did actually just remember another, oh my god, my hair is like driving me crazy because of the fan. I like look like I'm trying to be a bad supermodel. But anyway, so the other thing that I'm not even sure that I mentioned this in the last episode. This is in my very cute Krista bag. She actually just did a shop update. She's a local Boston maker, and I think she still has some left. Not quite like this, they're little tote bags, but her stuff is just, I had to stop myself from buying one last night. So again, I'm not even sure that I had started this last time, but I'm making, oh my god, it looks, it's a mess. This is called the Ballerina Wrap Top by Ace of Wands, and it's a free pattern. I'll link it below. It's basically a wrap top. So, let me just like get it on to show you really quick. Okay, so this is what it looks like right now. It is like a traditional wrap top. There's like a little hole in the side to pull this end through. And then there's I-cord along the bottom, and then it ties right there. So, I knit this since we last spoke, but I want to mention a few things. So, there is supposed to be an I-cord binding along this side, which is why it's so loose. So I need to still do that. The pattern is written for a wool blend, but I knit it out of a cotton linen blend, which is Zoe from Juniper Moon Farms, that I got at Webb's. I really, really like the way that this yarn feels. Like, it's super nice, but it is cotton linen. There's no stretch, and so my hands have really felt it. So I've been kind of like giving them a rest. So that's why I haven't done this I-cord edging. And because I changed the yarn that it was made with, it's not as, so the way that the pattern is written is that you basically knit the beginning of the I-cord, and then at the end of it you're like attaching it as you go up, but you don't go around and pick up and knit stitches, so you're basically just like going into the edge of the fabric. There's a lot going on outside of these windows right now. So you're not, like, you don't have the stitches already ready to go. You're like picking it up from the edge of the fabric. And I think that that would work better on wool, and it's not working so well here. So I've tried doing both methods, both having to pick up and knit preemptively and adding the I-cord binding that way, and by just like picking up as I go, and it's really difficult to do that. So that's what I'll ultimately end up doing. I just like needed a break, but I'm really excited to wear it. I think it's super cute. I love the color. I was joking with my knit night friends. We've been doing Zoom calls, and I was like, everyone always says that they want to knit multiple of something, and one of Karen was like, oh yeah, everyone always says that and they never do, because like, yeah, knitting stockinette is kind of like boring, and you know, knitting a pattern 2 times, but I really could see myself doing another one of these in wool, and yeah, having it just like to put over dresses, put over like little tunics and stuff. I think it's just like really, really cute and flattering and nice. So yeah, I'm excited to finish that. Maybe I'll just leave this on for the rest of this. The final, well, it's not the final whip, but another whip that I wanted to talk about is not knitting related. It is a textile craft. So my friend Zoe, who runs the cross-stitch company called Junebug in Darlin, she designed Femme tattoo. So her cross-stitch kits are like totally beautiful. I'm pretty sure I've talked about them here before. She posted a while ago this amazing kit that says Maker, and I saw it and I was like, I don't know when that's going to be available, but whenever it is, I'm getting one, I'm making that. Her kits are stunning. I truly wish I had them up all over my house, but you know, as a small business owner, as someone with a full-time job, there's only so much handcrafting that I have time for. So this one, I was like, it goes to the top of my queue. So I got it, I think I started it like 2 days ago. And so this is what I have right now. Just the A and the beginning of the K. It looks like. And she gives you everything that you need in the kit. What in the last, like, since I was sort of revamping my crafting space and like moving stuff around, you know, I was having a conversation with Kay and I was like, I have this embroidery stuff that I bought for like one project, and then I like hang on to it because I like want to use it for something in the future, and I think I've picked it up maybe like 2 times since then, maybe even just like not even that. And so I was saying, like, kits like this are so good when there's like a project that I want to do that is not knitting and it has everything in it, so I don't have to go and like buy all the little pieces. And it's just like so beautiful. Everything's all in here all neat. I was like, how do I like carry this around? So I put it in this little like shallow basket, and I have the big pattern directions with all the colors here, and then underneath, you kind of can't see them, but I've got all the different colors of floss, and I just take what I need. Yeah, that's been like super enjoyable. I'm kind of documenting my progress on it on Instagram, but I think it's gonna go very well with my new podcasting background, like right here. So I'm very excited for that. Yeah, it's nice to do a craft. It's just nice to do a craft that like isn't like I'm not overthinking, because like with knitting at this point, it's really hard to just pick up a sweater pattern and be like, I'm just gonna knit this as written. Like, I can't remember the last time I did something and didn't make adjustments on it. So yeah, I'm just really grateful to have something to really like zone out to. I've been putting like audiobooks on and just like stitching on that, and I'll be doing it for like 2 hours, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, my hand is like cramped up. So yeah, just like also remember to take care of your body right now. Yeah, that's like largely what I've been working on in terms of fun stuff, like chill making stuff, which actually is like quite a lot. So a lot of you know that last summer I started working at a college in the area at the library, and now I started like full-time because I only work 30 hours a week, but I'm a full-time employee. I started working full-time officially at the beginning of November, and then of course the coronavirus happened and all of us had to make adjustments, and you know, we've been kind of waiting on bated breath for the reopening plan to come out, and that's been taken up a lot of my brain space because we only got the news, I don't know, like 2 weeks ago that they are officially bringing back students to campus. Had to take a break to clear my memory card, but I'm here. So we were talking about the reopening plans for schools. Yeah, and you know, I live in the Boston area. It's basically a college city. Like, I think that it's something like 1/4 to 1/3 of the residents of Boston during any time are students. So there's a big influx of people possibly coming. You know, some schools have decided to remain closed, but it just doesn't seem like a good idea. And we have voiced that, and this is, you know, what's happening. So yeah, that's just been like weighing heavy on me. And, you know, some public libraries that have already opened in the area have had to close for 2-week periods because even though they're just dealing with curbside, there have been positive cases among the staff. So, you know, it's just, yeah, again, what I'm feeling is not unique. I know people are in places that are taking it even less seriously than we are. So, yeah, I mean, we're all here. Ways that I have been sort of like managing my anxiety are definitely eating a lot of good food. We started getting our CSA. One thing, like every year we always end up with so much zucchini, and there are a few ways that I've learned to cook a lot of zucchini at once, and I would really love to hear your zucchini recipes because I can only go on like this for so long. My top 3 favorite recipes are zucchini bruschetta, which is basically olive oil, zucchini in a pan. You cook it until the zucchini has lost most of its water and it's been cooked out, so it's like kind of crispy and olive oil-y. Then you take a really good piece of bread, spread some goat cheese on it, add all of your like delicious zucchini, and then add a little bit more olive oil, add some thyme and some salt on top, and it's delicious. The second one is like a galette. So take pie crust. We usually have leftover pie crust because I love making like stone fruit pie or blueberry pie in the summer, and roll it out, put zucchini and corn, like especially if it's fresh off the cob. I like to add a little bit of Jack or mozzarella cheese, and then again, oh my god, goat cheese on top, and then bake that in the oven. And then the last thing that we've been doing a lot is to cook like a hash in the morning, with zucchini, onion, olive oil, a lot of salt and pepper, and then add like pre-cooked potatoes, whether that's like in the microwave or baked. And also, if I have it at the beginning of it, I'll add bacon and then just like eggs on top of that. I mean, I'm not at the point where I'm over zucchini yet, so I'm like really savoring that, but like any idea you have of favorite zucchini recipes, like give it to me, because I think there's like 6 in my fridge right now, and we're getting the new box on Tuesday, so there will probably be 6 more. Yeah, so that's been a way of just trying to like feel like it is summer, despite not being able to do a lot of the things that make summer. You know, knitting, kind of being creative, and like it's just, you know, we're in a tough time, and I'm like trying to also acknowledge that and like be okay with not feeling great. So the last little segment, which I don't do very often, is I want to show you something that I bought from a really awesome maker. And then I also want to talk about some shop updates, things that are currently in the shop that I just put up, and things that will be in the shop probably in about a month. Yeah, so let me go on to that. So, like basically when I started this podcast, it was kind of in the throes of the diversity conversations within the knitting and crafting worlds, and one of the things that I realized I was missing is not having a community of Latinx knitters. And so I, you know, kind of created the hashtag, put it out there. A lot of people shared it, which I was really grateful for, and I ended up meeting a ton of people that like I'm still in contact with today, which has been awesome. One of the followers that I got is the owner of the shop, La Serena Tejera. So she makes little Latinx inspired stitch markers, knitting like paraphernalia, and so I wanted to show you her latest shop update happened, and I just got some cute things. So one is this little pin that says Yo Tejo on it, so I knit. I thought that was so cute. I'll put that on my project bag. And then I also got this little Bandulce Conchita stitch marker. So if you don't know what this is like supposed to be in reference to, Bandulce is like sweetbread, and this particular type of sweetbread is called a conchas because it looks like a shell. The shell pattern on them is like super beautiful. Actually, like I really want a tattoo of a conchita at some point. I'll do it one day. And they come most traditionally in like white, chocolate, like vanilla and chocolate, and then pink patterns on the top of them. And they're not really sweet. It's a very like light bread, like a laminated dough, and then that top part is like sugar, flour, like a paste almost that they put on top before they bake it, and then as it bakes and it rises, it pulls apart in this beautiful pattern. And like eating it with coffee is so good because it's like, it is sweet, but it's just not like overly sweet, so you can like dunk it in your coffee. Ugh, I love them. They're like very, very cheap at the bakery, you know, wherever you go to get them. Like I think you can get them for like under $1 sometimes. And they're just like, they remind me of my grandma and like being a kid. They were just like really fun to eat. So yeah, a little conchita. And then she also sent me this little sticker. She's doing kind of like loteria cards with like different knitting themed images. So this is La Valiente Tejera, so like the valiant, the brave knitter. Isn't that so cute? So yeah, definitely, I'll put her link down below, but definitely check her out. She does like little shop updates because she makes all of the little clay stitch markers by hand. Some of my favorites are the Vicks Vapor Rub, which, like, again, if you're not Latino, it's like a common trope that moms or like grandmas will give you Vicks Vapor Rub and they just say that it like cures all. So it's like a little play on that. So protection against missing stitch or something. So those are some goodies I picked up. And last but not least, I want to share with you some stuff that is in my shop, my online shop. So I've been working on this idea for a while, and I'm so excited to finally share it with you. So I am going to start making stitch markers that will be in the shop, and this is the little packaging. So if you don't know what these are, they're lava beads, and they're like a porous material that is commonly used for like essential oils. So you can like put a dab of essential oil and it kind of just like sucks into it. And so my thought behind it was that we could use some of the essential oils that we know keep moths away, kind of like mask the scent of wool from moths. And you can use it on your project, and especially if you're using it on a project that you're like putting in a bag and like walking away from for a little bit, it'll just like give you a little bit of added protection against moths and their larvae. So each set comes with 2 like closed markers and then 1 progress keeper. If you're interested in having the progress keepers separate, I'm like definitely open to that. So if that's something that you'd prefer and you don't want like all 4 stitch markers, like leave a comment below, let me know. So we have this set, and then I also, because I can't help myself, have a little rose gold set. And so you can choose between 4 scents. You can absolutely get it unscented if that's your preference. But I also have the option of doing vetiver, which is my favorite scent, that is like known to kind of keep moths away. Lavender or cedar, like a cedar wood essential oil. So the way that it'll work is you can, as you're checking out, you can add it to the cart and you can choose one of the scents, and I'll put it on and seal it up and then ship it to you, and it should be good for a while. I've been experimenting with how long the scent kind of like stays really, it's not overwhelming though. So I've been keeping the Progress Keeper on the socks that I'm knitting, and the scent is there, but it's not overwhelming. But of course I'm using my favorite scent. So it's like enjoyable to kind of have there. What you could also do is just get the unscented ones, and if you have your own essential oils, you can dab it. I've been looking to find a way to like include a little tiny vial of essential oil, but it's just not, I can't front the cost of it right now. So sometime down the line I hope that I can do that, but for now I will sort of give it some essential oil. That scent should last quite a while, and then if you want to add more or add your own oil, then you can totally do that. So those are currently up on my website. If you're interested, there's a link always down below. So yeah, that's what's up now. And then coming, I'm going to be doing, probably in about a month, a big shop update with mezcla, and I know a lot of people have been waiting for it. For a while I thought that my distributor had discontinued it, and then they announced that they are continuing to carry it, but they changed it just like the slightest bit. It's just like slightly less yardage, but I got it, and it's like it'll just have to be labeled a little bit differently, and mezcla, which I know is like everyone's favorite base, is still gonna be around. So I'm gonna be dyeing up a bunch of that in all of your favorite colors, like masa, which is like a dark yellow color, licinas, which is like a light purple. Yeah, so like definitely stay tuned for that. I'll be updating it on Instagram and here. But if you like really want to know when it's going to go live and want to mark your calendar, sign up for my email list, which there's a link down below, but also if you go to my website and sign up from there, you can get 10% off anything currently in my store. Last but not least, I wanted to talk about liminal. So I've talked a lot about it, but this hasn't been available on the website. So liminal is a yarn that I worked with a mill in New York to have made for me. So it's a 2-ply DK weight. It's merino and Romney, and the merino is US merino and the Romney is local to New England. And it's a 2-ply. It's a DK weight. It's kind of a thick DK weight, but man, I just love knitting with it. I love it a lot. So there are skeins of it, not this color, but there are skeins of it currently on the website. And with that big update that's coming in about a month, there's going to be a lot more of this too. And I'm actually waiting on another shipment, so this yarn is not going anywhere, and there's like definitely more of it coming. And with that update, what I'm also planning to have is my first knitting pattern. So I've been really working on building my skills of grading and, you know, it's really intimidating to kind of break into the pattern designing scene, and there's like a lot of lack of confidence that I have been feeling around doing so. So I've been, you know, I was just like, I need to just do this because like I've said, there's a lot of patterns that at this point, like knitting stuff that I've just made up, not just like made up on the spot. Like, I have the skills to do this for sure. I just need the confidence and I need a little bit of hand holding. So I think I've gotten that, and it's hard to reach out to people when you don't know how to do something, and that's been hard for me to learn, that I don't just have to like know things. So I've been reaching out to friends who have already designed, asking for advice. You know, I also just never want to assume that someone is going to share their expertise with me. So, you know, I'm just kind of like walking this line. But yeah, I'm currently having my first hat pattern test knit, which is in liminal, and I'm really excited to share that with you. There will be a few tutorials uploaded to help if you want to knit it, if it's your first time following like a chart. Yeah, so that's coming up. There is a sneak peek on my Instagram, but this is the smallest size of the hat, and yeah, I'm just like, it's pretty cool. Like, I'm feeling pretty cool about this. So yeah, I'll tell you more about it when the pattern is ready to be purchased and available, and yeah. Go me, pat myself on the shoulder. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I'm really excited to, you know, bring some really cool stuff to you and to keep chatting. So I hope you're well. I hope your families are well. I hope, you know, all your loved ones are being held close while also socially distancing. Physical distancing, social closeness, you know how it goes. Thank you so much for tuning in. I will definitely see you next time. Yeah.
It like looks like you're trying to be sexy, but like super awkward.
Save a horse, ride a lobster.